Welcome to Echoes of Ihsan. You know, that podcast where we kind of dig into Islamic teachings.
Yeah.
And today we're diving into something pretty special. Imagine like a collection of stories and sayings that have been, passed down over generations, offering us guidance on how to face life's like inevitable challenges with grace and even hope.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're looking at today.
Yeah.
Sahih Bukhari,
Yes.
Book 70, Patience.
Oh, it's a treasure trove, isn't it? You think of it like a guidebook for navigating the rough patches we all hit in life.
Yeah.
But from a perspective that might surprise you.
Right. And you, our listener, you're someone who thrives on knowledge.
Yes.
Especially from unexpected places.
Absolutely.
So get ready, because today we're going beyond just information.
Yeah.
We're going on a journey into the very heart of what it means to be patient, as understood through these profound teachings.
And one of the most striking things I think you'll notice as we go through this book is how it totally reframes the way we view hardship.
Okay.
It encourages us to see challenges not as punishments,
Yeah.
but as opportunities for something much greater.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these hadiths, right? And a recurring theme really jumps out. It's this idea that every difficulty we face, from a tiny thorn prick
Right.
to a serious illness, can actually serve as a way of wiping away our sins, a way of drawing closer to Allah.
It's profound, right?
Yeah.
Hadith 544,
Okay.
for example, directly states that no fatigue, disease, worry, grief, hurt, or sadness afflicts a Muslim.
Wow.
Not even the prick of a thorn, but that Allah expiates some of their sins because of it.
It's pretty amazing, like those little everyday annoyances, the things we usually just brush off,
Right.
suddenly take on a whole new meaning. It
Yeah.
also makes you want to be grateful for them in a strange way.
Exactly. And then Hadith 545,
Okay.
it adds another layer to this whole idea. It says that whenever a Muslim is afflicted with a disease and says, "Oh Allah, reward me for my affliction and give me a better substitute for it," Allah will surely give them a better substitute.
So it's not just about passive acceptance,
No.
but about actively seeking a positive outcome, trusting that Allah will not only lessen our burden, but actually replace it with something better.
Precisely, these hadiths underscore the concept of divine mercy, emphasizing that trials are not meant to punish us, but to purify and elevate us.
Wow.
They invite us to shift our perspective from seeing hardship as something to be feared or resented,
Right.
to seeing it as a potential source of spiritual growth and even blessings.
Okay, so how would that actually look in our day-to-day lives?
Right.
How can we as listeners take this profound idea and apply it to the challenges we face?
Well, it starts with a change in mindset.
Okay.
Instead of getting bogged down in negativity when things get tough, we can try to view those moments as opportunities for growth and purification. It's about remembering that with every hardship comes the potential for a deeper connection with Allah and an expiation of our sins.
So it's like reframing those why me moments
Yeah.
into what can I learn from this moment?
That's actually, and it's not just about intellectual understanding. It's about cultivating a heart that's open to seeing the divine hand, even in the midst of pain and difficulty.
That brings to mind that image the Prophet uses in Hadith 546 and 547,
Yes.
comparing a believer to a tender plant that bends with the wind, but always manages to stand tall again.
Such a powerful metaphor. It speaks volumes about resilience and the nature of true strength.
Yeah.
The believer, like that flexible plant, isn't rigid or unyielding in the face of trials. They adapt, they bend, they might even sway dramatically, but they don't break. And as a result, their roots grow stronger, anchoring them more firmly to their faith.
Like those trees you see growing on a cliffside, right?
Yep.
Battered by wind and storms, yet they cling on, and somehow they seem to grow even more beautiful because of it.
Precisely. And the contrast in the hadith is fascinating too.
Okay.
The hypocrite, on the other hand, is likened to a strong, rigid pine tree. It might seem unbreakable at first glance, but that very inflexibility makes it brittle,
Right.
vulnerable to being uprooted by a sudden storm.
So true. Sometimes it's the seemingly strongest people who crumble under pressure because they haven't developed that inner flexibility, that ability to adapt and learn from challenges.
Yes.
It's a reminder that true strength lies in our ability to bend without breaking, to find our footing, even amidst the fiercest storms of life.
Right.
It makes you wonder, where do you see this kind of resilience playing out in your own life or in the lives of people you know?
Think about someone who's faced a major loss, a serious illness, or some other significant setback. Their world might feel like it's been turned upside down.
Yeah.
But they find a way not only to cope, but to grow through the experience.
Yeah.
Their faith becomes their anchor. Their resilience becomes their strength. And they emerge from the storm perhaps forever changed,
Yeah.
but unbroken.
That's incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
And it leads us to another really intriguing concept in these hadiths.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that Allah actually afflicts those he loves most with trials.
Yes.
Hadith 548 states it pretty plainly.
Right.
Which can be a bit jarring at first.
It certainly challenges our conventional notions of what it means to be loved by God, does it?
Right.
We often assume that love should translate into a life free from suffering.
Yeah.
But within the Islamic framework, hardship is understood as a manifestation of divine love.
Okay.
A way for Allah to test and elevate those He holds dear.
So it's like saying that those who are spared from trials
Right.
might actually be missing out on a deeper level of spiritual growth.
Exactly. It's about understanding that hardship can be a crucible for refining our character, for purifying our hearts,
Oh, wow.
and ultimately for drawing us closer to Allah.
And it's not just a theoretical concept. Hadith 549 shares a personal anecdote about the Prophet's own experience with illness.
Yes.
It says that Aisha, his wife, never saw anyone suffer more from sickness than the Prophet himself.
This narration is powerful because it humanizes the Prophet,
Okay.
reminding us that he too faced intense hardship.
Yeah.
It reinforces the idea that even the most righteous individuals are not immune to trials.
Right.
And in fact, their capacity for enduring suffering with patience elevates their status in the eyes of Allah.
So it's like saying that enduring hardship with grace isn't a sign of weakness, but a mark of true spiritual strength.
Precisely.
Okay.
These hadiths paint a nuanced picture of hardship, inviting us to see it not simply as something to be endured, but as an opportunity for growth, a manifestation of divine love, and ultimately a pathway to greater spiritual closeness with Allah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And this idea of hardship as a pathway to closeness with Allah, it brings us to another really vital aspect of dealing with challenges. Compassion. You see that Prophet Muhammad strongly emphasized the importance of visiting the sick, as we see in Hadith 552 and 553.
Yeah, visiting the sick is considered such a significant act of worship in Islam. And these hadiths really highlight those blessings associated with it.
Yes.
In fact, Hadith 552 even mentions that the one who visits a sick person is surrounded by angels, seeking forgiveness for them as long as they remain there.
It's a beautiful reminder that acts of kindness and compassion,
Yeah.
they not only benefit the recipient,
Right.
and also bring spiritual rewards to the giver.
Absolutely. And the Prophet didn't just talk about this, he lived it.
He did.
He exemplified this compassion in his own action.
Yeah.
And it wasn't limited to just visiting fellow Muslims.
Right.
Hadith 554, 561, 567, and 568.
Okay.
They actually provide examples of the Prophet visiting people regardless of their faith, showcasing that universal nature of Islamic compassion.
Those stories really beautifully illustrate that care and concern for others, especially during times of need, transcends boundaries of belief.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that shared humanity in each of us and offering support wherever it's needed.
It really speaks to that interconnectedness that's at the heart of Islamic teachings, doesn't it? That sense of community, of shared responsibility for one another's well-being. It kind of makes you think, how can we embody this spirit of caring in our own lives?
Well, there's so many ways, both big and small. It could be as simple as checking in on a friend who's going through a rough time, offering a listening ear, or extending a helping hand to someone in need.
Yeah.
Sometimes just being present with someone in their pain, that can be like the greatest gift we can offer.
It's about those small acts of kindness that can ripple outward, creating a more compassionate and supportive community.
Right.
And speaking of powerful actions, I wanted to touch on this truly inspiring story from this collection. The story of the woman with epilepsy who chooses patience over an immediate cure.
Ah, yes. Hadith 555. This is such a poignant example of seeking higher rewards through enduring hardship.
Yeah, imagine being offered a cure by the Prophet himself, yet choosing to continue enduring your ailment in hopes of a greater reward in the hereafter.
It's some serious faith, isn't it?
Right.
To prioritize the eternal over the immediate, knowing that the true reward lies with all.
It's a testament to the transformative power of belief and that unwavering hope for a blissful afterlife.
Yes.
This woman's story It really challenges us to examine our own priorities,
Right.
asking ourselves what sacrifices are we willing to make for a greater purpose,
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of drawing closer to Allah.
And this idea of seeking a higher reward through enduring hardship is further emphasized in Hadith 557,
Okay.
where it's promised that those who lose their eyesight with patience will be granted paradise.
It's a profound reminder that our trials, no matter how difficult, are never in vain when faced with faith and a steadfast heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's about trusting in Allah's plan, knowing that even in loss and suffering, there's a greater purpose unfolding.
Yes.
It's humbling to witness such unwavering faith in the face of adversity. It begs the question, what sacrifices are we willing to make for something greater than ourselves?
Right.
How can we cultivate that same level of steadfastness in our own lives, knowing that those rewards, they extend far beyond this world?
It's a journey of faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it brings us to another important aspect of dealing with hardship.
Okay.
Acceptance. Remember Hadith 560 and 566,
Yeah.
where a sick man argues with the Prophet
Yeah.
about his illness being an expiation for sins.
That's a fascinating interaction because it really highlights something so relatable,
Mm-hmm.
that human tendency to question or resist suffering,
Yeah.
even when presented with a spiritual explanation.
It's natural, isn't it? We want to understand why we're going through difficult experiences.
Yeah.
And the idea that our suffering might be connected to past mistakes can be a hard pill to swallow.
Right.
But these hadiths also highlight the importance of accepting things we cannot change, even when they challenge our understanding.
It's about recognizing that sometimes that wisdom behind our trials may not be revealed to us in this life, but that doesn't mean there isn't a purpose,
Right.
a divine plan unfolding.
Exactly. And accepting this reality doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to suffering.
Right.
It's about surrendering to what is, finding peace in the midst of the storm,
Yeah.
and trusting that there is a greater wisdom at play,
Yeah.
even if we can't grasp it fully.
It's like that saying, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can, change the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Beautifully put.
Right.
And, this idea of finding serenity and acceptance in the midst of hardship, it leads us to another powerful tool, the practice of dua or supplication.
Yes, let's talk about dua.
Yeah.
Hadith 579.
Yeah.
It reveals a specific prayer for healing
Mm-hmm.
that the Prophet Muhammad would recite when visiting the sick.
It's a beautiful prayer, and it highlights the significance of turning to Allah for comfort and healing during times of distress. Remember, dua is not just about asking for things. It's about cultivating a deeper connection with Allah,
Yeah.
acknowledging our dependence on Him, and seeking His guidance and mercy.
And it's not limited to just physical ailments either.
No.
Dua can be a source of strength and comfort in any challenging situation.
Yes.
Whether it's emotional distress, difficult decisions, or simply feeling lost and overwhelmed.
Right.
It's a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles, that we have that direct line of communication with the divine. And through prayer, we can access this inexhaustible well of support and guidance.
It makes you reflect on your own practices, doesn't it? Do you readily turn to dua when facing challenges? Or do you tend to rely more on your own strength and resources?
That's a great question for all of us to ponder. In a world that often prizes self-reliance and independence, it can be challenging to cultivate that spirit of humility and surrender.
Right.
But ultimately, recognizing our need for divine guidance can be immensely liberating.
And this brings us to a fascinating story.
Okay.
In Hadith 573, where the Prophet expresses his desire to leave behind a written statement for guidance,
Okay.
but is prevented from doing so due to disagreements among his companions.
It's a sobering reminder
Right.
that even with the best of intentions, disagreements and misinterpretations can arise.
Yes.
And it highlights the importance of approaching religious teachings with humility, seeking guidance from trusted sources,
Right.
and acknowledging the limitations of human understanding.
It also underscores the paramount importance of unity and following the Quran as the primary source of Islamic teachings. And what's fascinating is that the Hadith doesn't shy away from portraying this internal conflict
Right.
within the early Muslim community.
It shows us that the transmission of knowledge, it's a human endeavor,
Yes.
subject to complexities and potential for differing viewpoints. It's a powerful lesson in humility,
Yes.
teaching us to approach religious teachings with an open mind and a willingness to learn from multiple perspectives.
And as we delve deeper into these hadiths, we see this recurring theme: hardship. It's not an endpoint, but a pathway.
Okay.
It's a journey of purification, resilience, compassion, and ultimately a means to draw closer to Allah.
So it's about shifting our perspective, isn't it?
Yes.
From seeing hardship as something to be feared and avoided to embracing it as a potential source of growth and spiritual transformation.
Precisely.
Okay.
But there's one more crucial piece of this puzzle, a hadith, that really makes us question our assumptions about what it takes to attain paradise.
Oh, wow.
And that's where we'll pick up in the final part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to Echoes of Ihsan. You know, as we wrap up our deep dive into Sahih Bukhari, Book 70, Patience, I'm struck by how these teachings really offer a completely different perspective on hardship. You know, it's not about simply enduring suffering, but about using those difficult experiences as a way to grow closer to Allah.
It's a perspective shift, isn't it? Instead of seeing hardship as something to be feared or avoided these hadiths, they encourage us to embrace it as a potential source of spiritual purification and transformation.
And, you know, as we've journeyed through these teachings, we've encountered so many practical tools for navigating those challenges. You know, from visiting the sick to cultivating a flexible spirit like a tender plant, from embracing acceptance to finding solace in dua. It's not just about abstract concepts, but about concrete actions we can take to build resilience and find meaning in the midst of difficulty.
Absolutely. And one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal is that direct line of communication with Allah. Through dua, remember Hadith 579, that beautiful prayer for healing that the Prophet Muhammad would recite when visiting the sick. It reminds us that we can always turn to Allah for comfort, strength, and even intervention in our lives.
And what's amazing is that dua isn't limited to physical healing. It can be a source of support and guidance in any challenging situation, whether it's emotional distress, difficult decisions, or simply feeling lost and overwhelmed.
Exactly. Dua allows us to surrender our burdens to Allah, to seek His wisdom and mercy, and to find peace in knowing that we're not alone in our struggles.
It's a reminder that no matter what we're going through, we always have that connection to something greater than ourselves. But you mentioned a hadith that challenges our assumptions about what it takes to attain paradise. What was that about?
Oh yes, Hadith 577. It's the one where the Prophet Muhammad states that good deeds alone are not enough to enter paradise.
Wow.
His companions are understandably taken aback by this, asking, "Not even you, O Messenger of Allah."
And his response is even more thought-provoking. He says, "Not even myself, unless Allah bestows His favor and mercy on me."
It's a statement that really makes us pause and reflect. We often think that if we just do enough good deeds, we're guaranteed a place in paradise.
Right.
But this hadith suggests there's something more at play, something that goes beyond simply tallying up our good actions.
So it's not just about quantity, but about quality, about the intention behind our actions.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that ultimately our salvation is dependent on the boundless mercy and grace of Allah. Our good deeds are important, of course, but they're not a means of earning our way into paradise.
So how should we understand the role of good deeds, then, in light of this hadith?
Think of it this way. Our good deeds are a reflection of our gratitude for Allah's mercy, a way of expressing our love and devotion to Him.
Okay.
They're not transactional, but rather they flow from a heart that is filled with sincere faith and a desire to please Allah.
That's a beautiful way to frame it. So it's not about doing good deeds out of fear or obligation,
No.
but out of love and gratitude.
Exactly. And, you know, this hadith also serves as a reminder to be moderate in our religious practice, to avoid pushing ourselves to the point of exhaustion or burnout. The Prophet encouraged us to find a balance, to consistently perform acts of worship that are sustainable for us, focusing on quality over quantity.
It's a reminder that our spiritual journey is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
And it's about finding joy in the process, not just striving for some distant goal.
Beautifully said. And, you know, as we reflect on all that we've learned from these teachings, I'm reminded of a hadith that really beautifully encapsulates the essence of patience and surrender. It's Hadith 578, where the Prophet Muhammad, while resting against Aisha, whispers this prayer. O Allah, excuse me and bestow your mercy on me and let me join with the highest companions in paradise.
It's such a poignant moment.
Yeah.
Even in his final moments, the Prophet's thoughts were focused on seeking forgiveness, mercy, and the highest companionship in the hereafter.
It's a testament to the enduring power of faith and the unwavering hope for a blissful afterlife, reminding us that even amidst suffering, our hearts can remain steadfast in our devotion to Allah.
And it highlights the importance of humility, doesn't it? Recognizing that we're all imperfect beings in need of Allah's mercy and forgiveness.
Absolutely. And so, as we conclude our deep dive into Sahih al-Bukhari, Book 70, Patience, I hope you, dear listener, leave with a renewed sense of hope, resilience, and a deeper understanding of the transformative power of patience.
May these teachings continue to resonate in your heart, guiding you through the challenges of life and illuminating your path towards a closer connection with Allah. Remember, hardship is not an endpoint, but a pathway, an opportunity for growth, purification, and a deepening of your faith. Embrace the lessons it offers, seek solace in dua, and never lose sight of the boundless mercy and grace that awaits those who turn to Allah with sincerity and a steadfast heart.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration of patience.
Absolutely.
We encourage you to continue reflecting on these timeless teachings and to share your own insights and experiences with us on social media. Until next time, may peace and blessings be upon you.